Candidate Michael Crosby here, running for office, California. This item is to specifically address the AARP. Retirements. I believe I have the best policy to deal with retirement. Starting out, I want to talk about if we had just taken, or asked, so to speak, that each person with a Social Security account, for instance, take $1 just one time, we would have well over $100 million. And if $100 million can't buy you, bar none, the best investment advice for working with solid assets, then there wouldn't be much point. Well, we haven't had that. The politicians didn't do that. I will do that. Currently, the way I read the law in California, what is actually being done by the federal government with respect to Social Security is basically they are taking advantage of everyone, and they are not paying an adequate amount of money for having and managing a liquid account. I am going to force accountability, and if I have to, I will bring the measure directly to the citizens on the ballot and let them decide exactly how they want to proceed. And we can even do this with multiple choice. If they believe that the state of California, if the citizens vote and say that we should run in and seize federal monies coming out of California and put in proper managers to begin managing that money, and then loan the federal government emergency money so it doesn't fall. You can't let the federal government fall. If that's what the public wants when I'm in office, then that's what I'll do. Because the way I read the law, what has been done is taking advantage of elderly people, disabled people, and the list goes on. Another thing I'm going to do when I get into office is I'm going to get all of these various retirement policy managing companies. You have state employees, you have county employees, you have all of these organizations. And when I looked at the disclosures of the percentages and the special pools and investments that were being made, it was immediately clear to me that just getting all of these people to the table at the same time could, within just 1, 2, 3 days, immediately come up with a brand new investment strategy that would guarantee 3-5% more yield on the money in the first 6 months alone. I also believe that I have a policy where we can use some very advanced methods that are actually old school, very old school items of investments working with only solid assets that are over 100 years old, that have been used by other companies, very famous and well-known companies, very successfully. I'm talking about solid asset items. I'm not talking about anything that's like an Enron. I'm not talking about anything that has somebody at the top with huge golden parachutes. There's no reward that's going to get paid to anybody if they don't do anything. And any rewards that would get paid would have to be decided by the people themselves. I believe that it is possible over the course of the next 10 years to move retirement payments forward where they are paying off 10, 20, 30%. And eventually there are a few techniques that may work in some areas up to certain amounts of money that could pay off as much as 180%. Now later on in my campaign I'm going to be talking about some of these techniques. Again, only solid asset techniques. I'm not talking about investing into real estate development where somebody's going to build a house for $180,000 and try to bilk someone selling it for $750,000, which in a few instances has occurred within the last 7 years, 10 years here in California. I'm talking about fair and solid asset management systems. So that brings a close to my short mentioning because I have a lot more issues. I have items like pet medical, where I believe that people should be able to borrow and pay back money over the course of 2 years from their Social Security account at 5%. Because I believe your buddy is part of the family. I believe my buddy's part of the family. So that's a bonus item. That's fix your buddy and fix Social Security at the same time. And yes, the Social Security card would have to work like a credit card. So when you went to the vet, because you never know when your pet's going to be sick, it would be set into place where that number alone with your identification would work. I would like you to take more time to consider my points of view. I'm looking forward to future contact. So please, feel free to look at the items that I have and I will continue to put up, because I'm convinced that I have the best retirement recovery policy of any other candidate, bar none. Thank you.